Alright, so here we go. We've got a brand new official update from the Outriders team as to what is going on with the new patch that is forthcoming here. So we're going to dive into that in just a moment, plus some more community feedback as to what you guys want to see in the future for Outriders. And you better believe it, I'm going over your top comments later in the video, so don't be afraid to leave a comment down below. It could always potentially end up in a future video. So, hey everyone, what's happening? Open World Games here, hope you're doing good. And let's dive straight into the latest news about Outriders. Let's start with that patch. What's going on with the latest update with that one? So here it is. It comes from the community manager of the Arcane, who says this: testing for the patch to resolve the damage mitigation not working properly throughout this week. Until testing has been completed, we will be unable to provide a precise release date for the patch in case the testing indicates that further work is required. Important, we have identified that the issue regarding enemies doing excessively more damage all of a sudden is most commonly, but perhaps not exclusively, triggered by the specific steps below. Check this out right here. It says join a multiplayer session as a client. Number 2, leave the multiplayer session, and this is what triggers the bug, these steps. It says additional trigger as either a host or a client attempt an expedition at a lower challenge tier level. For example, playing a challenge tier 12 with a level 50 character, this issue will become more prevalent the greater the disparity between your armor and the enemy level is. Now, in such cases, the game code encounters a bug that prevents it from pulling an important back-end stat table. Now, if you tend to hop between multiplayer sessions with different partners, you may therefore be more likely to encounter this issue. Staying with the same partner for the duration of your play session or playing solo should help mitigate against this issue occurring. It's a shame that they didn't discover this before the release of the game. Now it says restarting the game fully should force the game to once more pull the correct stat table, which in turn should prevent enemies from dealing more than intended damage until the bug reoccurs. Now we are additionally looking at what we can do in the short term to mitigate, particularly against the one-shot kills from certain enemies such as brood mothers. However, as such changes would affect everyone rather than those who have encountered the issue, we need to be careful here. If we do go down this route, these changes may be a potential holdover till the patch releases, but we will share more news around this when we can. So they might have like a temporary fix in between waiting for the patch. It says please see further remedy steps in the update from previous notes down below. Of course, the testing is going to be an ongoing process over the next couple of days. They may not be able to provide a public update here tomorrow or until testing cycle completes, but you can rest assured that work is continuing to progress. So yeah, there's additional replies from the community manager about that one as well. They do want to communicate daily, but they don't want to irritate people by just having like some sort of very, very generic reply, you know what I mean? But also, we're going to take a look at this thread here, right here. It says summoning the Arcane to give us updates on the patch this week. And of course, that's the community manager. He says, oh great, the Arcane. Our Prometheus, what fires of knowledge do you bring us, mortals, today? And we have a reply from community manager who says, poof, with a puff of smoke I appear, cough cough, thanks for the summoning circle. I've just updated the gather thread. Now, as mentioned there, testing for the patch is ongoing, so we can't yet say when exactly the patch will be ready for sure, but I'll let you know in the moment I have news on that. Now, that being said, I mentioned the blow in the gather thread too. We already went over that, but this is important right here. It says, so tomorrow's status of the patch could in theory be no different than today, and that wouldn't be a bad thing for its release schedule, but there wouldn't really be any news to associate with it given the overall test cycle. So it may be better to keep to higher value news updates rather than the work is ongoing. So yeah, that makes sense. There were actual complaints from the community that they did not want to hear about, testing being ongoing. They want specific news going forward, and that makes sense, of course. Now, let's keep going with the news, shall we? So we have another reply here. And this is an interesting one. It's about you, Devastator, so you're going to want to pay attention to this one. We have throwaway PGY Uno who says, please let us Devastator mains know if the statue set is a bug or nerfed. Let us know so I can dump my Devastator if it was indeed nerfed. Give us an official confirmation. And we have the community manager who replies saying the statue set acting in this way is a bug, not a nerf. We're considering whether there's a way to help this issue via the backend, but a true fix would require a patch. Our currently worked on patch is, however, focused on the damage mitigation issue and is slimmed down in order to expedite it, so it won't address this issue yet. So their main concern with the next patch is, of course, the damage problems a lot of us are running into in this game. Let me know actually how many of you are having this problem with damage mitigation. I'm curious to see the portion of the community that's really going through this problem. Please sound off in the comments below. Is it going to be 50% of you, 30, 20% of you? I am super curious. Now, we have some ideas from the community. These are excellent ideas. Let's take a look at this one right here. This one comes from Crazy Bout, who says, add legendary bounties and hunts, which can be purchased with drop pod resources. I personally love this idea. He says, allow the purchase of legendary hunts and bounties, which provide players with a choice of legendary items. Purchase these with drop pod resources from Tiago. Now, these missions only provide you with 1 life and will reuse the main areas for hunts and bounties. However, with new bosses and more enemies, when the quest is completed, choose 1 of 3 legendary items to keep and receive a small cache of random loot. I freaking love this idea. I hope that People Can Fly is really paying attention to some of the ideas out on the subreddit and the community, because they are great. And maybe, just maybe, we could see some of this, you know, enter into like DLC or something like that. So keep the ideas rolling out, because I think that would be absolutely fantastic to see for sure. Now, this is interesting right here. We have Paul Tassie's Dream Patch List, 30 quick fixes. And of course, he's from Forbes, and he's been covering Outriders quite a bit as well. So he goes on to say this for his, you know, ideal fixes going forward. He says, have Tiago rotate his legendary pool weekly, which I think is probably the most requested thing ever. Post-campaign, have challenge tier difficulty in the story and drop loot up to 50. Hell yes. Buff legendary drop rates across the board. This is also super important. Have iframes while dodge rolling. Make Broodmother Blue Fire more visible, absolutely, because there's a lot of foliage in some of these maps and you just can't see what's going on. It says nerf melee damage for pretty much all enemies. Ability to lock items to prevent dismantle. Nerf Strex tracking. Nerf Crawler overcharge spam. Nerf Moloch ground fire spam. Have enemies count as dead when impelled. That's another thing that's requested, especially for you Devastators, of course. Add time to most expedition timers. Implement armor transmog. Allow universal mods to be shared across characters. Do not have a host leaving reset an entire game. Do not let people kick others before expedition loot drops. That's just like, for me, like the #1 thing that needs to be fixed as well. Do not constantly matchmake with AFK people in camp. Buff snipers, the weapon, not the enemy class. Eliminate drop pod resource requirements for expeditions. Allow selection of specific challenge tier for matchmaking. You know what? I want to back up one to this one. I totally agree with this. I think this is one of the most annoying things about the game right now, is that they have resource requirements. I think that's just silly. Let me know if you agree. You know, maybe they could do it a different way, but I think they should get rid of it for now. Allow portal to teleport while teammates are in combat. Assign specific expedition loot for target farming. Allow all expeditions to be selected anytime. Buff defensive perks. Buff underused gear sets. Buff underused legendary weapons. Fix bug skills and perks too many to count. Have last man standing indicator while teammates are down. Allow for revives without disruption by damage or knockback. Have revive timer 30 seconds for respawn. And also, I want to make another one, add another one on there, since we're talking about, you know, being downed and things like that. Be able to crawl to your friend if you're downed to kind of get their attention. I think that would be cool. And considering if this team worked on Gears of War, that should be like a mechanic they should be able to do. I think you could crawl around in Gears of War, if I recall correctly, at least in multiplayer. Alright, but yeah, a lot of you guys really want to see Tiago acting like Xur from Destiny 2. This one comes from Spectrum PT, who says, so yeah, Tiago should function like Xur from Destiny 2. The legendaries he offers should be weekly rotative, and at least one should be guaranteed to be new. I am not saying I prefer Destiny over Outriders. I do not. I am done with Bungie. They butchered the game and keep doing it for the sake of greed. But isn't the recipe for success to learn from others' mistakes, but also from the others' good deeds? I mean, at this point, Tiago is pretty much useless. And he posts this meme here. No, poor Tiago. God, look how innocent he looks right here. Then, of course, Xur. We want Xur. We want someone that acts like Xur, you know, with weekly rotations. I don't think we would ever see like a brand new legendary every week. Again, this is not a live service game, and they've already made that clear. Now, of course, People Can Fly, they've been kind of talkative about future plans here. They're working on Project Dagger and Project Gemini, which is 2 AAA games outside of Outriders. And some people do not like the idea of People Can Fly talking about this right now. And it's very interesting to see that. You guys want to see People Can Fly focus wholeheartedly on Outriders, as stated in this thread right here. There's some agreement about that one. It says People Can Fly needs to make Outriders better before advertising other games. I stand alone thinking that they need to earn our trust after the Outriders release. It says People Can Fly wants to talk about its 2 other games when Outriders is already feeling stale, and all those 99.4K guns they handed out really did nothing to help enjoyment or replayability of Outriders. Show us with the game we already bought that we should spend more money through your studio. I already am going through 15 seconds with nothing to find or look for. The looter is already completely gone from the looter shooter. Wow. It says make a game worth $60 first before you release others, because there's no way in hell that I would purchase another game for People Can Fly until I get my money's worth out of Outriders. You know, my personal opinion, I don't think there's much of an issue with the loot. I just think some people aren't getting loot. And I don't know. I think they did a way better job with this game with the Legendaries than Anthem did. That's just my personal opinion. So, and I personally think with the amount of content that's in this game, it is worth its value. The problem comes with how it was launched and the issues it faced, because I think it would be far more enjoyable if it didn't have any issues, of course. But yeah, I think a lot of you guys, considering that we're getting so many updates and like live service things for fixes, you guys want to see new content alongside that, and that's the problem, that this isn't a live service game. Because I think a lot of your, although the game has problems, a lot of your, complaints would be adjusted, I guess you would say, or balanced out by the fact that, hey, I'm getting like a bunch of new content here on top of these fixes. So yeah, maybe that would have helped. But again, they haven't said that they've abandoned the game. It looks like to me that they would be planning some big story expansions with this game. I'm hoping that we hear about that in particular here in June during E3 2021. Square Enix is going to be there, so that's great news. So look out for any news about that one. I'll keep you guys in the know about that. But you know what time it is? It is time for your top comments. So be sure to leave a comment down below in the video for a chance for it to end up right here in the video. You never know. So my most recent video was about the following. Outriders. This is exciting. Teamed up on new stuff for the future of People Can Fly's projects, and a lot of you guys were not excited. Jerry says, I dare all Outriders YouTubers to name their next video without the word update. I'll try, man. I'll try. Wait, actually, hey, this video didn't have the word update. Woohoo! But it's tagged wrong. Oops. Okay, but anyway, Andrew says this. They are talking about projects. People Can Fly. What the F? Oh, people be like, what the F? Sam says this. Count me out. They could put their new project where the sun never shine. Nick RFF says, I love how he said, I wouldn't be surprised if they buffed tier 15. And then inside him, he was like saying, they better not nerf tier 14 or I'm going to effing lose it. Dragoon says, I'm always excited to hear about new stuff when the company can't make any of their old stuff work right. I mean, they're trying. Matt says your last 2 videos use the exact same footage. My bad on that one. Gamerplay says this. They need Tiago to do a rotation of different legendaries every week. That would be a big help. I think it would be a massive help. I think it would be a game changer for sure with this game. So hopefully they listen and they actually implement that, because that would be really big for the game. I think it would bring people back and they would be excited every single weekend. It's a shame they didn't do that originally. But there you have it, the latest happenings around Outriders. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more news and updates regarding this one, and of course more open world gaming news in the near future. And I will see you all next time. Take care.